and thank you for being here, and I look forward to what's coming up, right? So,
We got time for 3 questions.
3 questions.
Go ahead and start with Tracy.
So let's see if I can capsulize what I'm trying to say to you. Generally, there's a green agenda or a liberal agenda or a progressive agenda. You know, people call it a whole bunch of different things, a globalist agenda, trying to get people out of their cars, trying to, like your private property, how all those restrictions after burn down, you know, taking away the private property rights of residents. I think every city deals with this because they're under what we call South Bay City Council governments. Yes, I think you're probably familiar with that. Can you, in a very simplistic fashion, try and explain the link between what cities are doing and the South Bay City Council governments and the influence they have over cities? Because I think a lot of this is coming down from the South Bay City Council of Governments.
Well, it's actually coming down from Sacramento to the South Bay City of Governments, and really what it is a movement. What we've noticed in Rancho Palos Verdes in particular is a movement to actually, so we have a general plan when the city was incorporated, right? And it's open space, it's actually a really fantastic plan. I liken it to the Constitution, right? And what's been happening is the city staff have been putting through changes one at a time without actually giving us a picture of what the whole general plan is going to look like. So there's this draft general plan that we've not been able to get. Well, fortunately, it's still a draft, right? But there's been a big uproar in the community about that, and I really believe that we need to have a repeatable process about how these things work, right? We need to actually see what it's going to look like. So staff presented a city plan that had all the proposed things on it. Not, you know, I mean, so it's really hard to see what's actually going on and what's changing. But if you look at all the changes, I don't think we're going to be happy with it. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but.
So you do see the connection between all these things coming down to the general plan, like our city's constitution, like our country's constitution, and they're trying to change it incrementally, little by little, through things like general plans.
Yeah, well, and the thing is they're doing it without the public actually catching it, right? So you don't know what's going on, and let's be honest, there is a significant part of the population that doesn't pay attention until it's time to vote, and then they listen to the soundbite, right? So we need to get the word out that that's going on and that we need to be on top of that. And that doesn't work. Yeah. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, anyone else, please?
Anybody else?
Do we have any RPV residents right now in the audience today? You should go ahead. I think this is a good chance.
You guys have a question?
Didn't have any questions, but you might want to mention the event tomorrow.
Oh, that's correct. Actually, for any of you
That'd be great
who want to support Republicans, and B, if you're in Rancho Palos Verdes, we are having a candidates forum tomorrow night at Hess Park at 4:30. So all 6 of us will be there, and you know, if you guys can come out for that, that would be great, especially RPV residents. So.
And Christine has arranged a lot of Trump supporters to come out. We're going to be wearing red hats tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Put on your Make America Great Again hat and be there.
Fantastic.
4:30 Hess Park.
Yeah, there's some flyers up here too.
When's the election again?
November 7th.
Okay, November 7th.
Oh, okay, so let me just give you the composition of what it's looking like. So we have 2 open seats. It's 2 people that are termed out, so it's completely open. We've got 2 Republicans running, and we've got basically 4 Democrats running. And, well, we've got a 19-year-old kid running, which I think is great, but I don't think he's ever voted. And secondly, we've got a 26-year-old, you know, guy running who's, you know, I gave him credit, honestly, because my doing this after being involved with the city, you know, being that age and running, and I mean, I don't know how old you are, but
26.
There you go. So, but you're involved, right? These guys you know, I appreciate them coming out, but I don't know that they actually have a real chance to win. And we've got 1 Democratic candidate that's being funded by Almira Suchi. So we're getting bombarded by mail, and well, at least my husband's getting bombarded by mail. I'm not getting any of those mailers because I'm a pretty firm Republicans, so, yeah. What?
How many Democrats at the city council?
Right now?
Yes.
Right now, we've actually got 5 Republicans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be nice to
Yeah,
keep
I
it
know,
that
but
way.
They're not acting like Republicans, so you would think they would get along, would you not?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think one of the things that I was looking around this room, and I think is people try to put labels on things. And, you get people that, like Maxine Waters was calling racist. I'm looking in the room here, and I see a diverse crowd of people with races and backgrounds and nationalities. So this is not about race, gender, age. These are concerns that affect people. And it has nothing to do with that. And I think the problem with a lot of these political leaders in both parties is they breathe rarefied air, they stay there long, and they get disconnected from reality. And the people get frustrated, say, well, you're supposed to represent us, but you're not experiencing all of the hardships we're going through.
Right.
Are you all ready?
You know, they live in their fancy homes.
So glad. Perfect time.
No.
Yeah, it's right there. She got it.
I think that's absolutely spot on, and I've had a plan for that.
Yeah.
Not that I can impact that on a city council level, but I look locally is where I have control. And the whole reason why I decided to run was because of all the organizations that I'm involved in. There's a lot of talking, there's a lot of complaining, and there's nothing moving or changing.
Yeah.
And you need to be in a position of influence to be able to change anything. So I was like, you know what, that means I gotta do this. And here I am. So, and there's a lot of negotiating going on with my husband about what's gonna happen after I win.
Let me ask one last question.
Yes.
What's the most pressing issue facing the city, and how do you want to address it?
There is, well, I think for us, the pressing issue is crime.
Oh my God.
Crime, because our crime rates are going up, and we've taken a lot of steps from APLR readers and other things, which have been very effective for us, because if you go into Rancho Palos Verdes, there's only a certain number of ways to get into the city. But we've still seen a significant increase in break-ins, in burglaries, and it's not something that you would expect in that area. So part of it's education, and part of it's actually really making sure that the population knows what's going on with that. And part of that's coming straight from Sacramento and all the people who've been released.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
So I think that's one of our big issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Please.
Thank you. Vote for Krista Johnson, or let people know.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Make sure she's got her, she has flyers. She also has donation envelopes. Make sure you pick up one on the way out tonight. So with that, I'm really glad Chanel Temple, she's the one who recommended her. And I had met her, and I didn't know how to reach out to her, but she helped me out. Please give a warm round of applause for Ashley Gilliam. And here's the microphone.
Thank you.
There you go.
I thought I'd at least have like 7:45. I'm so sorry, guys. It took us almost 3 hours to get here.
Oh my
There's
God.
a reason why I don't live down this area. We were doing freeways, roads, everything we can think of to try to get here.
Yeah.
And then the big thing happened. My mom and dad had a big water spill hazardous waste in their house about a month ago. We've been living in a hotel now for the last month.
Oh,
we just
no.
got back in pretty much today. Contractors everywhere, they're 85, so I'm helping them organize everything, set everything up. So we have just been insane, because I wanted to leave a little early today to get here, wasn't able to. So my husband's setting up everything right now for me to get set up on the,
Did you use Waze to get here?
did we use what?
Waze?
Yeah,
It's an
wait.
app.
Oh, no, we didn't actually.
Well,
We
you
have
gotta
the-
get it.
Huh?
Thanks for coming out.
Oh,
Thank you.
You already got it set up. Uh-huh. It's in the right one, that one. And you just have to see, so there's one there.
So it's point to
Oh, and then here's one here. The power cord right there. I have to bring all this stuff, I'm ready to do this. Every place we go, every setup is different, so we never know what some people are gonna have, what they're not gonna have. So when he's ready to go here, we'll set it up. And I want to thank him, because without my husband, none of this would be possible. He's a computer person at night and a networking person.
No problem.
I want to just recognize a few people that are here. Anybody from the Solera group, will you please stand up? Just want to recognize you.
Hey, Andy, good to see you.
And I really want to thank you guys for coming out. Also, any of my friends and family that came out or whatever that know me or came out, please stand up too. Recognize you here. Thank you. And a special recognition, especially to my brother Craig, Ashley, older brother, and his wife, Veer, which came in here tonight. Actually, they live right here in the area, Torrance.
Wonderful.
So,
Oh, no kidding. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, help yourself. That's what you got to do. And if you need another extension, I got one.
Yeah, I brought an extra one too.
Okay.
I had one.
That's fine.
He was trying to get the speaker set
Yep.
up. And you have good internet connection here?
We've had it's really worth recognizing for the audience. We have a more diverse group than we could have ever seen in the Democratic Party, which has become old and white, only white, no outreach to anybody else. And here you see an incredible diversity.
Oh,
What's up, Alan? How's it, Brew?
Yeah, we're Facebook friends. Remember me from I got my hair back tonight.
You look the same. What about you?
So, Ashley Gilliam has put together an incredible history, true history of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Yes.
Is it possible if we could get these front lights out, it might show up better?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. I think they're on the side of the door. Let me see.
It would have been better in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, they could probably use them.
Give me a second. Let me take care of this first. I think it's behind this door over here. The internet, it's going to have Sizzler. Yeah, and it's open.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Let me. If you just hold it and just keep an eye on for everybody. I'll be right back. Just hold it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what's
Peter?
It wasn't strong enough. I've used it in the past. Yeah, we want to try to close them down a little bit. Yeah, that'll make it stand out more. Do you think we could move the screen more to the middle? Let's do that. I'm gonna. Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of older.
I'm just giving you a little help.
Okay, so how are we gonna project this? Where we gonna?
We have to turn it around this way.
We can make some space right over here. There you go. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna need a little help with the legs. Hard time spreading them. All right, I'm holding.
Oh, there you go. Is that better?
Oh, that's much better.
Okay.
All around, it's much better. And the speakers are right here.
Right here.
Okay, you're able to get a signal on that hotspot?
Yeah, I got a decent download. They go and upload anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm connected to one.
Excellent. All right, very good. Okay. So we're just taking care of sometimes there's some technical difficulties. Oh, everybody knows about Agenda 21, don't you worry. Everybody knows about Agenda 2030 as well. Okay, we're just having some technical difficulties out of our control. We're fixing them right now.
No.
Well, there you go.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, wow, this is great. Okay.
Thank you guys. We're going to get going here. Yeah.
Yes. And see you at the Mother of All Rallies. What happened? You couldn't make it to that one?
Oh.
I couldn't. Yeah, no. It's all right. It's going to be in California. Next week, Mother of All Rallies? Oh, yeah, that one. Oh, God. They're already messing with Milo.
Guys, let's get started. We're having a lot of material covered in a short period of time. My name is Mr. Ashley Gilliam, actually from the Inland Empire area.
All right, everybody.
I've been down here doing these presentations for about 2 years now. And what I am is I'm a black woman, and I used to be a Democrat. I'm still black, I'm still a woman, now I'm a Republican. How I changed, what happened, and like most of us, what normally happens is that our religion and our politics are based on our family members. Usually mom and dad will remember that church, is that where you are? They will remember that party, so that what you did. Several years ago, I started doing my own research, and I just started listening to a lot of things that had been told to me, and it just wasn't true. And so this video is really just to dispel a lot of those myths, and for you to start doing your own research and making your own decisions. Don't base on what I tell you. Take this information and you do what you need to do with it.
Yes.
Okay? I'm going to have my husband probably help me here a few videos. Okay? You're good. Sit right there so you can help me. Okay? Also, we need to be more religious-based. And what happens in the Bible, you can say that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because they have rejected knowledge. And so the title of the conversation is Democratic Party Reveal. We're not going to do the videos now at this point. Usually I come in a little early and do them. What I want to tell you is that between 1525 and 1866, about 388 Africans were shipped here to North America. I always had a question about how did few slave traders come in there and take all these Africans off the continent. Now, this was just to Americas or whatever. There were millions of Africans that were shipped all over the world, okay?
Yeah.
Well, the reason they were to do that because their own kings sold their people, okay? They were slaves already in Africa before they got here, so they sold their own people. That's how they were able to do that.
Oh.
Also, one thing you need to know too is that the Muslims, even back then, were involved in the slave trade. And the stuff, if you go back and read the things, horrendous things were done to after that period of time, they have no clue. These kids now talking about things and bigotry and racism, whatever. You need to read some history and what people really went through during that period of time. Another thing Muslims would do, they would actually castrate the boys. Out of 10 of them, maybe 7 of them would die because they made them eunuchs, and then they gave more money. Imagine what you had to go through. They just rip your penis right off you, whatever. If you didn't bleed to death, you were okay if you did, but most of them died. Okay, now we're going to move through these centuries very quickly. That was 2 centuries already. Now, in 1850 is when things really start happening here in the United States, okay? And Democrats going to be in the blue and Republicans in the red, okay? The Democrats were the one that passed the fugitive slave laws, okay? Lost rights to be represented by counsel as a slave, provided for return to slaves who escaped from one state to another state by territory. After that, 1861, when you have Abraham Lincoln, 1861 to 1865. Now, when you hear the Grand Old Party, some people, especially black people, turn their nose up. And I tell them, you better be glad there was a Grand Old Party, okay? That was the anti-slavery party, which is GOP. Now, some people say, well, it's a different party, not the party of Lincoln. I'm going to show you through the centuries how it's the exact same party. Okay. Yes. Now, 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, people don't know that it wasn't passed by Congress. That was pretty much executive orders. Okay, and slaves were going to be free in designated areas. The 13th Amendment actually was adopted. At that point, the House Republicans voted 100% for. And the Senate 100%. Democrats only voted 20% for, and on the Senate side, only 3 of 8 voted for it. Now, our President Lincoln was assassinated by William Booth, a Confederate sympathizer. Okay. In 1867, Texas Republican Party was founded, not the Texas Democratic Party, okay? Founded by Whigs and Democrats, comprised of 150 blacks and 20 whites. Wow. The 14th Amendment was adopted in 1868, okay? Designed to grant citizenship and protect civil liberties of ex-slaves. Now, this amendment is being really prostituted these days, whatever. So I went back and read as far as the citizenship clause they once had, the guy that actually wrote the clause, whatever. This amendment was specifically designed for slaves. It was not to prevent for fraud, for people to come in here, be 8 months pregnant, drop a baby, and you're an American citizen. And what he said back then with this amendment, the guy that wrote the amendment said, listen, you are, wherever country you come from, you have allegiance to that country, okay? You're not allegiance to the United States. That was a clause they put in there, whatever. So if you're not American citizens at that point, when you came here had a baby, basically he was saying they weren't American citizens. Now, it is way above my pay grade, and that's something that really the people in the robes need to look at and see at this point in time where that amendment actually stands. But as far as the way that amendment was set up and the way it is now, it's being abused. Okay, the 15th Amendment guaranteed blacks voting rights to vote. Now, Republicans voted 100% for it. Democrats all voted against it. Wow. Now, another thing I tell them too, as far as that goes, it was we said voting rights and civil rights. I tell black people all the time, in 1800s, you had civil rights and voting rights. That was already given to you. Why are you fighting the same the same laws 100 years later when you already had that in the 1800s that were given to you by the Republicans? People, I talk to black people all the time. They want their reparations. We need to have a reparation. So I let them know. I said, you had reparations? You had that 100 years ago. Okay. So what happened? General Sherman, which is part of the President Lincoln at that time, at that point, after they won the war, they had guaranteed 400,000 acres of coastline of Charleston and Florida to the freed slaves, okay? It was supposed to be governed entirely by black people. No white person will be permitted to allowed unless military soldiers detailed for duty. That's it. So reparations were given, 400,000 acres. Black people had all that Carolina coast up to Florida, and they were actually given a plantation. After Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Johnson, which was a Democrat, okay, he came through, he overturned that order, evicted by force, returning blacks to the former slave owners.
Can I ask a question?
No, not right now.
No,
Let me
okay.
go through.
Oh, wait, okay.
Yeah, we got too much to cover. 1872, there was a hearing that was selected, that was held, and what they determined at that time that the Democrats were the one that established the KKK, and they were established to stop the spread of the Republican Party. Reestablished control for Democrats in southern states. Over the next 86 years, the KKK lynched 3,400 plus people. Now, they not only lynched blacks, they lynched whites too. Anybody that was a black sympathizer also could be lynched. But that period of time, that's what happened. 1870 to 1875, at that point, Republicans passed many pro-black civil rights laws. 1800s, okay? Now, when the Democrats took over, is this what they do? They're the ones that passed the Jim Crow laws. So you do not listen to these people when they talk about KKK and Jim Crow. And I tell people all the time, when they say, well, KKK, I said, that was your party. Republicans had nothing to do with that. You're the one that established that, okay? They're the ones that established segregation, okay? Separate but equal, restrict labor rights, movement organized by blacks. No further race-based civil rights laws were passed to 1957. Okay? Now, we move forward another century here with the civil rights. Now, you see here, the Republican House passed 75%, voted for the Civil Rights Act. For the Democrats, only 40%, okay? You see the Senate side and also the House side. Voting rights passed. Now, they did better this time. 78% of Democrats backed it, and 82% of Republicans backed it, okay? Now, this is what I have to stop with because I always hear about this voter suppression. Let's talk about this for a second, okay? Now, this is what voter suppression looks like. Blacks attempting to vote, actually were told by election officials they had gotten the date wrong, the time wrong, or the polling place wrong. That they possessed insufficient literary skills, that they had filled out an application incorrectly, had been known to force black voters to recite the entire Constitution or explain the most complex provision. Can you do that? Okay? And if they could do all that, then they want them to know how many bubbles on that bar of soap. And if you happen to get that right, then they got a jelly bean jar and said, you know what, how many jelly beans in that bar? And if you happen to pass that, get all that right, when you got home and walked your 10 miles home, whatever, you could be threatened with death. Somebody's waiting for you with a rope, either beat you or hang you because you tried to vote. Now, what do we have to do nowadays? Show proof of legal status, everybody. Okay? Why are the blacks the only one disenfranchised? They never say whites are disenfranchised, Hispanics that, nobody else but us, okay? So my thing is they're telling us, you are too stupid, you're too dumb, and your black little brains cannot handle getting an ID card. Now, if you're in the United States, how are you living here without ID? You got to have ID to do everything. But they're telling us you've been disenfranchised. No, you're not disenfranchised. What you are is lazy. And too many people died giving you those voting rights for you not to use them. I remember reading when they had the Michael Brown incident, whatever, and I heard blacks on TV said, well, you know, our city council's white, and our mayor's white, and our school district's white, all these kind of people. They're almost 70% of the population there. No men folks voted? 6%. Why are you whining when 6% of you got up off your butt and voted? So if you want your city council and your sheriff to reflect who you are, then you have to get up and vote. Too many people died giving you the right to vote for you doing what you're doing right now. Now we're going directly through to the demographics, which has changed, okay? 1960s, the population was about 192,000. Whites, you were about 85%. Blacks were 11%. Hispanics were only about 4% back then. You know, we're only talking about 50 years ago. 2014 census, about 325 million people population. Whites, you're only 70%. So ladies, you need to get busy having some babies, okay? Blacks only 12%, Hispanics 17%. Now, my question is this. We've been here 400 years. You've been here 40, growing. How do you outnumber us by that many? Again, I'm going to show you how that was done to us on purpose, okay? Everything along the road. So they took this new group coming in, replaced them with a group's already here. I don't mind people coming here. What my problem is when you take a whole people that's already here and displace them and put somebody in that was already doing that job. Also in 1965, almost 77% of black children were born in marriages. Complete reversal 50 years later, 75% of black children are born out of wedlock. We have had a complete breakdown of our family units, of our moral fiber, and that's what we're suffering right now in our inner cities. Okay, now let's talk about LBJ that people some of these folks just love. They don't really know who he was. Let me tell you something right now. He hated black people.
He destroyed it. Okay,
he used the N-word. I'm going to say N-word, I'm a mixed company, but I was with some of my other friends, I'd be saying something else. He used the N-word all the time. So he's quoted a lot of times. These Negroes, they're getting pretty uppity these days, and that's a problem for us since they've got something now they never had before. The political will to back up their uppiness. Now we got to do something about this. We got to give them a little something, just enough to quiet them down, not enough to make a difference. I'll have these ends voting Democratic for the next 200 years.
Wow.
Those are his words.
Yeah.
Now this is what happened. So apparently he had a war on poverty, so he said. So at that point what happened, because blacks used to be the workers, we couldn't get anything free, okay? So what happened, we started being dependent on the government, okay? So you had the food stamps, public housing, Medicaid, daycare, temporary assistance to needy family, penalized marriages, and mother generally received far more money welfare if she was a single than married. Once she took a husband, her benefits could be cut up to 50% or whatever. So my thing, we replaced the family with the government. Now, we sold our soul, ladies, for 30 pieces of silver. That's not the kind of people we were. When my dad and them growing up, we had real communities, real families, they were workers. Men worked 2 or 3 jobs. My dad went to one job, okay? He got off that, come on boy, he got off that job at night, he'd go clean toilets, another job. On Saturday, he had another full-time job. That's the way black men worked, okay? The only time they got off was Sunday to go to church.
Wow.
That period of time, too, want to let you know what happened. Black people hadn't gone anywhere. How do we get all these drugs in our communities? The government put them in our communities, they need to get them out. We hadn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
So all this heroin and cocaine and stuff that was prevalent in our communities now in the 1950s up to 60s, you didn't see that going on. Everything started to change in the 1960s. And like I said before, my thing is we sold our soul for all this stuff, thought we were going to have an easy ride up, ended up being more difficult for it, and it broke down our families. Now, people talk about now how lazy supposed black people are. I'm going to let you know all the jobs we had. We were workers. We had businesses. We had farms, okay? We were the people that were running this environment here. We were the laborers along with the sheriffs and the law enforcement, pilots and things like that we had to do. My dad once said, he said, every time you get on an airplane, back then he would love to see a black pilot. Know why? Because he know that guy had to go through 3 or 4 times more than the fields and clean your toilet. Who you think picked the cotton and cleaned the toilet for 400 years before you got here? Somebody was doing that work. So it's an insult, and I'm ready for black people to start getting insult for what they're hearing about themselves and the type of people we all were and still are. Also want to let you know about the inventors we have here. We were the laborers and the inventors, okay? Almost everything you enjoy right now because a black man or black woman put together for it. You would be in the dark ages right now, wasn't for Africans. Everything they'd had their hand on. You locked your doors before you came here, black man. Use the bathroom before you came here, inside commode, black man. How about your elevator, gas mask, railroad signals? I just put a few of them here. Lawnmower, spark plugs, engines, train signals, everything you can think of, use a black man or woman had their hands on, okay? So this idea that we lazy and didn't do anything, we are the workers and the inventors in this country. Yeah. This, what you see right now with us, is a new phenomenon. That wouldn't happen for the 1960s. Now, can't go far without talking about good old friend Margaret Sanger, okay? Now, there's ladies here in the sound of my voice, 40, 50 years ago, that had abortion. And what they tell you, it was a blob, a piece of tissue, it didn't mean anything. All that was a bold-faced lie. She wanted all black babies exterminated. That means if that happened, she wanted to get rid of our whole race. Why would you support a party that is systematically destroying a whole race of people here in the United States? We were human weeds to her that need to be exterminated. On that one, the video didn't come up. Oh, we're not going to worry about that. She's also, they talk about KKK. That was Margaret Sanger and her friends, and that's part of the Democratic Party. Yeah. Let's see if that other one comes up at all. Usually they flip right up. But I'm not going to worry about it because I wanted the one that shows with the... No. Oh, hit that one there. The first one. See if it comes up.
Okay. This right here?
That right there. I'll see if our speakers work too.
Let's see how much bandwidth you don't know.
Right. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
There's your network connection there.
Well, you did your homework.
Yes.
Good stuff.
This first video, and we just flipped through, for some reason the bandwidth's not good, it always didn't show up. This first one is to talk about the president of Planned Parenthood, and also talks about everybody's standing up, even the woman that ran for Miss America, standing up how Planned Parenthood is how they do mammograms. And everything along the way, the president said it had nothing to do with mammograms. They don't do mammograms there. Right. But that's a story you hear all the time. But if you never research that and hear anything, you think that'd be true. Right. And they must not think sometimes this stuff on video or camera. Oh.
Millions of women all across the country who rely on Planned Parenthood for not just contraceptive care, they rely on it for mammograms.
We do not have mammogram machines at our health centers, and we've never stated that we did.
The $500 million that gets given to Planned Parenthood every single year goes to female care. It goes for scanning for cancer. It goes for mammograms.
We do not have mammogram machines at our health centers, and we've never stated that we did.
Planned Parenthood, for example, doesn't provide mammograms. Now, I know people say they do, but they don't. In fact, they do.
We do not have mammogram machines at our health centers, and we've never stated that we did. What's going to happen as a result of this, if this bill would ever becomes law, millions of women in this country are going to lose their health care access.
Okay, turn to the next one. Okay. Ouch. Lie. At some point, but they're able to get away from there because they do sound bites, and people nowadays don't study. They hear headlines, and all they hear. They don't do any other research besides that. So also Hillary Clinton, was given a award, the Margaret Sanger Award for, support of Planned Parenthood. Barack Obama's all support. All they're doing right now, that this one years ago, is selling us for baby parts. That's all this is about.
Oh, that's right.
It's money they're getting off of. Yeah. So when I hear black people stand up supporting this particular party, that anybody that would say that would be okay, but because they can do that, because you don't know the massive numbers that have been taking place that we go through right now. You may have to hit the return on that, John. Let me see if I hit this one here. See if you hit return again. You have to that one right there, that's why. Return, hit the return button. Enter. There you go. Okay. Now, Margaret Sanger had a couple of things going on with her. She wanted the governor to consider putting birth control chemicals in food, okay? Imposing a law that would allow women disallow women having more than one child. The government would give them permit, okay? National sterilization. She had all kind of things that she wanted going on. It's real funny that she wanted all this. She never had an abortion. She had all her kids. Okay? Now, Roe v. Wade came along, and let me tell you something right now. Roe v. Wade had nothing to do with, women's rights or things like that. It was always about what Margaret Sanger wanted. She had a dream to exterminate all black children. Her dream is coming true. Up until 1974, we have exterminated over 20 million African babies, whatever. We're only 38 million here in the United States. We should easily be 59, 60 million people here, okay? And let me show you how important that is. Also, Planned Parenthood minority or in the minority communities, 79%.
Yep.
They put them there for a reason. They give these women, hey, come here with us. We'll just eliminate, this waste and stuff out of you, whatever. But they don't realize with that, we've just killed off a whole generation of kids. These are the numbers so far. Now, for blacks, you can see since 1973, AIDS, violent crime, accidents, cancer, heart disease, abortion. Right now, we're up to 20 million. That's what's killing us. As you see along the lines. Not everything else, look how much we number. How can anybody with good conscience say that that's okay? And if you had an abortion years ago for what they told you, and some women, like I said before, if you went through that, you never have forgiven yourself, whatever. But my thing at this point, the celebration that takes place, that is okay. Roe v. Wade, and she just passed away, I think, this year, whatever. How can that be on your conscience all that years? What you did, there was no way to take it back, and all these kids being exterminated were based on you and your decision you made. Okay? One thing you need to do about having a dream, this is an interesting story here. Now, Margaret Sanger wanted maybe each family to have one child. Let me show what would happen if that would happen. Now, Martin Luther King Sr. was one of 9, okay? So he would have only one been born. None of his siblings would have ever been here, okay? Now, go down the tree with that. Now, from him came Martin Luther King, okay? Does anybody know how many kids that Senior had and where Martin Luther King stood in that? No. He had 3 kids. His sister was first. So if Margaret Sanger would have had her way, Martin Luther King Jr. would never have been born. So you just think of that for a minute. The amount of people and scientists and just people of good character and will and stuff that we have just eliminated out of this society and stuff like that. 20 million. Okay? And we being Christians should know, before we were even in the womb, God knew who we were, as far as in what he wanted us to be. We are children, are a gift from God. And I tell ladies all the time, if you, besides the birth of a child, there's nothing more beautiful than you see your child for the first time on an ultrasound. I know I had a lot of issues when I was, had my son. I had him at, 37 or so, and it was, we thought it would be a hard time conceiving, whatever. And so what happened when I went into that room, they lay you down, they put that warm gel on you, and then there's a search that goes on for that heartbeat. It's like a tadpole, And when you see your child for the first time, it's something that nothing can ever replace that. And I'm telling you right now, if most of these girls would see an ultrasound, they wouldn't have these abortions. But they hide it from them because they don't want them to see what they're doing. And my son now is 6'3", 6'4", 200 pounds, something like that too. But you can see from that tadpole the life that is taking place. And God has a design for all of us.
Yes.
Okay? Now let's get to our favorite person, your President Obama, okay? Oh, yeah, I know. But everything, under President Obama pretty much got worse for blacks, whatever. And you can just see some of the rates and stuff there as far as the unemployment rate for blacks, just in our communities. He didn't do anything about the deaths that took place, whatever, about number of people on food stamps went from 7 million down to 10 million, and all that was fine. And he was just, the black people love me. Now, you're from Chicago. You have all that killing going on in Chicago. I never heard him one time mention that or saying, listen, guys, you drug people or you criminals out there, you won't stop killing these people. If I got to get the National Guard in there, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to stop this murder. Not a word.
Nope. Black lives didn't matter.
Also, the state of emergency, this is a little older, 2015, but most of the major cities here in the United States that have the biggest crime rates, all run by Democrats.
Yep.
Now, California, we're going to get to this just slightly here. This has actually changed since I did this. I think Hispanics now are about 39%. Whites are about 38%. That's flipped. And blacks only 6.6%. Now, neighborhoods that we had, they have them. Jobs we have, all the construction people you saw, and gardener shit. Black people had all those jobs, okay? I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at government that allowed that to happen. How do you let a whole country come over here and take over your state? Okay? It was done on purpose because they wanted voting rights. They want them to come over to vote, and they put you on these welfare rolls. Okay? Now, I'd be coming too if I got this, okay? Now, what they got is that in-state tuition, driver's license, limited deportation, state-funded health care for children, DREAM Act students in the country legal allowed without legal status obtain law degrees and professional license, Medicare coverage, children under 17 regards to legal status. Brown has appointed a number of non-citizens in the country legally to state agencies and departments, according to his office, sanctuary city, work permits to farm workers, living in the country legal, large percentage of jobs you have to be bilingual. Now, how do you need to speak a foreign language to get a job in your own country? Exactly. I can't go nowhere else and that happened. But here, I went on that line one time, just looked at the number of major industries there and how many require you to speak Spanish before you get a job there. This is America, okay? We speak English here, okay? So I don't mind having another language here, but your primary language has got to be towards your citizens that are here. We got a lot of blacks in this gorge towards that, poor whites that can't get jobs. Because when they walk in here, you can't speak the language in your own country. Also, I was at school one time, and I really had to hold myself. This little black girl was up the counter, and she was trying to get financial aid at one of the junior colleges. And she was just like, and she was telling the lady, 18 years old, our dad kicks us out, we're independent and stuff too, and we can't really, do anything. I need money to go to school. That woman looked at her, Hispanic woman. I sat there and had to hold my tongue because I didn't want the one girl to get kicked out of school completely if I would have spoke up. But she pretty much said, in front of all these people in this audience is disrespecting her, all these people in line. And she just told her, did your dad molest you? Did you beat you in front of all these people? I'm sitting here, my eyes just a bit. The girl was so embarrassed. She was in tears. She said, you don't understand. She said, you got to prove to us that you are independent. You just can't walk in here and say you're independent. Wow. I turn around and look on this board, and I see this DREAM Act. I think some black people would like to be some dreamers. Okay? How do they get disrespected like that? And another thing, I'm not blaming anything else but black people and these politicians. We've sat on ourselves for 50 years and done nothing to allow this to happen. We weren't these kind of people before. Oops, let me turn. I think I missed one. See if we can go back one more. Oh, right here. So, we need to talk just about the deaths that are taking place just all over the United States. You always hear this thing about 38,000 Americans are killing each other, in gun violence. Yeah, but what they don't tell you is 62% of those are mental health issues.